Hey scrapbookers, I'm Tricia Morris from Club Scrap and welcome to the Kintsugi Page Kit Assembly Workshop. I've got 8 gorgeous pages here I'm going to help you assemble step by step. Now, in case you didn't know this, Kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery, with the idea being that sometimes when something has been broken and then repaired, it's even more beautiful than the original. And it's a perfect time of year in December of 2020 to be considering those things. So I've got my instructions printed out here and I've got my beautiful Kintsugi kit. I'll set aside all of the goodies that came with it, but I do want to first begin by sorting out the photo mats into the appropriate pocket in my accordion pocket file. Now, if you don't have this accordion pocket file quite yet, please reach out for help from us in making one for yourself. I have a video tutorial and a starter kit to help you put this together. It's a wonderful tool to help us use our vertical space as we create these 8 pages. Okay, so I've got these photo mats and let's just see where they're going to end up. We'll take 3 gold. Now there is a metallic gold paper in this collection. It's so pretty. And all 3 of these gold mats end up in pocket 1 and 2. 3 slate. Now the slate color is just a really hard color to define. It's sort of a bluish green shade. And these 3 go into pocket 3 and 4, along with 2 navy mats. Those also go into pocket 3 and 4. Next, how about 1 navy photo mat going into pocket 5 and 6, and 3 manila photo mats, those go into pocket 7 and 8. All right, the very next thing we're gonna do is organize all of the remaining papers that we have in our collection. You'll notice that the cut-aparts this month are a little bit larger than the rest, and I'll address that with you in a little bit, but I don't want you to worry about that. Now go ahead and find 1 sheet of this deep navy blue plain, and then 1 of that gorgeous metallic gold, followed by, now this is kind of weird order for us, but we're going to go to our cutter part next. So we want the one that says ring the bells that can still ring. We'll put that face down on our pile, followed by the other cut aparts. This one says your gold, baby, solid gold. That goes face down. Next, you'll need the collage print, just 1 of those. And then finally 1 handmade paper. Now we had this paper specifically made just for this collection. It's made in India. It has a beautiful mica in it, and I'm not sure if you can see that sparkle on camera, but it's just a gorgeous paper that we had made especially for this collection. We'll move on to what I'm calling the pottery print. It was just really hard to know how to define this, but we'll just call it a pottery print. Put that face down. Next, slate plain. That's that bluish greenish hue. Then there should be another metallic gold plain, and you'll notice that it's metallic gold on both sides, followed by the other collage print face down. Then we have the other slate plain, the remaining handmade plain. All these different textures are really interesting. And then 1 more navy plain, followed by the last pottery print. All of that went face down, and we'll flip back on over to the original navy that we started with on top. And we will begin trimming. Of course, I'm using my trusty Fiskars guillotine trimmer. If you don't have one of these, I can't recommend this enough, especially if you're using a slider. You'll find that you just won't be able to keep up with the pace even after a lot of practice. The slider is just a lot slower machine. Okay, so this navy print goes into the trimmer and we'll cut at 11 and 10. You'll see that I'm stabilizing on this clear bar before every slice. Then 8.5, 5 3/4. Now rotate and trim at 8 and 4. Hopefully you've created 3 pieces that are the same size, and all of them are going to be placed in pocket 5 and 6. Then take the next strip to the right of your trimmer blade, and notice how I let those strips pile up without moving them. If you move them, then the piece I'm going to have you reach for may not be where I think it is, and just in case that happened, this is 2 3/4 by 12 right now. We'll cut at 11.5, and then 8 1/4, 5.5, 2 3/4. All right, now in that process, you've made 3 squares that are the same size. Those will go in pocket 1 and 2. And then you have this sort of rectangular shape. We're actually going to trim this vertically, so make sure it goes in the tall way or like a portrait. We'll cut at 2 1/4. And this will go in pocket 3 and 4. And then you'll have 2 small scraps. You can just dispose of those or set them aside. For the strips, we'll file those. The widest of the remaining strips will go in pocket 1 and 2, and then you have 2 more narrow navy. Those will go in pocket 3 and 4. Next, we have our gold plain. We're going to make several strips out of this, so we'll start by cutting at 11, 9 1/4, then 8, 6 3/4, and then 4 1/2. Now rotate this piece that's currently in the base. We'll trim at 6 1/2. Okay, now this larger, pretty big mat here, this goes in pocket 5 and 6. And then we have the smaller one that will go in 1 and 2 with all the rest of that gold. Now this wider strip, 5 and 6. The next 2 in the pile should be the same size. Those both go in 1 and 2. The remaining 2 strips in the pile both go in 7 and 8. Now for the cut aparts, and the reason I'm delaying the preparation of the final 2 pieces is because we don't need a trimmer for that. So we're going to do all the trimming first, as is always, kind of how I like to do this. Now, what we're doing differently here is to increase the accuracy of the original 12 by 12, I'm going to have you do the last 4 cuts around the perimeter of this cut apart. So do you see those little hash marks in the corner of this print? That's our cutting guide, and that will be on all 4 corners, and that's how we're going to align this into the trimmer. Now, using this trimmer, it's a little bit hard to tell way at the bottom corner where that hash mark lands, but I can kind of see up at the top here. So I'm just going to look here for that first intersecting line and just line it up that way. I can always go neaten this if I need to again. Then I'll rotate and just kind of try to get things lined up again on that edge of the blade, the outside edge of that stainless steel blade. Rotate again. Now here, if I just start by looking here on the left and I look at 12 inches, hopefully that will line up nicely, and it does. Make one more rotation, hoping for 12 inches on the left, and it's looking good here on the right. So I'll make my last cut. Now the perimeter has been trimmed, and I do have these 4 little approximately 1/8 inch scraps I can get rid of. Next, this is just another change. I have the measurements that you need to trim in here, but you can just follow along with me again to separate these elements. So in case there's any question at all, you can consult the measurements, but if you just visually try to place this border strip in the trimmer so that it's on the nearest 1/4 inch, it should be the right measurement. So here we're going to start at 11, then go down to 9 1/2, then 7 1/2, just always confirm you're trimming into the separation area here, and 6 3/4, and 4 1/4. Beautiful. Now just rotate, and we'll make one cut here at 6 1/4 to separate this piece, and this one goes in pocket 7 and 8. And these we're going to set aside to fussy cut in just a minute, and then we'll take this piece and trim horizontally at 8 1/2. This piece goes into pocket 3 and 4, and then the smaller journaling prompt 1 and 2. Now all we have left are strips that need to be filed. So this kind of plainish one, that goes in 7 and 8. And then this Remember Growing Might Feel Like Breaking at First, that's 5 and 6. This just neutral strip here, 7 and 8. And then there's a really beautiful light colored one, that goes in 1 and 2. Okay, the next strip, same thing. We've got that corner to remove. So I'll place this back in. I'm going to look very carefully, primarily at the top of the sheet, to get my first cut going, and then rotate, and same thing, just every corner, just check to make sure. Here I can see a little bit more at the bottom that I have things lined up properly. Now I can look at, again, at the 12. Hope that it lines up here. Looks pretty good. And same thing on this edge. I'll get rid of all of those little 1/8" strips so I don't confuse myself later. Once again, this will be rotated so that the narrowest strip is on our right, and our first cut will be at 11. 10 1/4, 9 1/2, 8, and 5. So then we're going to rotate and trim off all these leaves. We'll start at 10 and then 8. Okay, this large piece, this goes in 7 and 8. And we've got a journaling tag, 7 and 8. These we can set aside for fussy cutting. And now we have this strip. I think these are all going to be 2" until we get to the end. So we'll trim, place it in so that every day is a fresh start. And we'll cut at 10, and then 8, 6, and 4. This larger tag, 1 and 2. I'm going to pick up the rest of those pieces. This is a nice greenish hue, and that goes in 3 and 4 on that tag. Then this navier one goes in 5 and 6. Inhale, exhale, 5 and 6. And then every day is a fresh start, 3 and 4. All that's left now are these narrow strips. So we'll take One Day Someone. This is 5 and 6. We've got these 2 Kintsugi strips. That's 3 and 4. And then Life is a Collection of Moments, 1 and 2. Now, completing that means we're finished with our trimming process. And the only thing, again, that we have for scraps are these 2 little pieces of navy paper. I'll get rid of my trimmer. I'm going to keep my accordion pocket file handy, rest it on its back. And I'm going to bring in my Pottery Print and a 3x14 grid ruler. Now you can freestyle this or you can use the ruler to help you. I'll just show you the ruler way, but basically I'm just looking to place the ruler so it's kind of on this gold area here. And I'm going to pull this toward me to separate it. So rather than having a nice clean cut, I've got a torn strip feel. Then I'll just rotate 1 turn and I'll do my best to position this. I do have measurements on the instructions, but you can just do this without measuring anything. You can, again, freestyle tear this as well, whatever makes you feel most comfortable. Then this one, and by freestyle tear, I mean tearing without the help of the ruler to keep that line pretty straight. And I'll show you what happens when we do that. It reveals more of the layers of the paper. It just depends on the look that you're after. And so that's just a freestyle tear. Ruler tear. There's a little bit of a difference. Okay, now we have to sort out where these pieces go. I think most of them go in 3 and 4. So it's this guy, I love this strip, and then this larger ivory one, and then the long strip. All 3 of these go in pocket 3 and 4. And then this remaining strip with the foliage on it, that goes in 5 and 6. Okay, the handmade. Now this is kind of neat. This is beautiful. You can kind of see there is a right and a wrong side to this. Like one side you can see more of the screen. This isn't just an authentic handmade paper, so it's just very natural, and each piece will be different from the one before it. It's made individually. And I'm going to be using a ruler to help me. I like to marry up my rulers to help me find a certain measurement that might be wider than my existing 3x14, and you can even combine any of these, the 1.5 by 6, the 2 by 8, or the 8 by 8 to help us add up to the number 4. So I want to tear this piece into a 4-inch strip. So this is only 3 inches wide. So if I borrow an inch from my grid ruler here, 3 plus 1 is 4, and notice that I'm keeping the long edge of my 3x14 grid ruler right here, and then this shorter one is to the left of it, so I can separate here. One other weird gadget that you can also use is a water brush. Because this is a handmade paper, we can sort of start to soften the fiber of the paper by using some water. And if you just kind of take your water brush, and I made the mistake of not making sure my water brush was perfectly clean, so I put a little bit of ink. But if you just run the water brush along along the edge of the paper, or the edge of the ruler that is, and you can kind of tear, rather than, notice I'm not tearing up, I'm tearing to the side. What that's going to do is just expose the paper fibers a little bit more than if I did the fully guided tear. So the ruler basically just helped me get that measurement, but that does create just such a nice torn edge. I'm going to flip the paper around and repeat the same thing. So I'm going to find, this is going to give me my 3, and this will help me get my +1 to make 4 inches from the edge. And I just want to say at this point, if you don't want to do the tearing part or the measuring part, you just go ahead and use your trimmer. That is absolutely fine. You don't have to do this torn thing. You don't have to have the water brush either. You can just pull back and tear it. So whatever suits your fancy with this method here. Okay, so now I have these 2 strips that have the straight edge on them. I'm going to tear them in half. So to do that, my measurement would be 6 inches. So once again, I have 3 inches coming from this ruler, plus 1, 2, 3 more coming from this one. I marry it up. I don't really have much water in my water brush here. Here we go. A little bit of water there, just to kind of loosen those fibers. And then tear. That's 2 now. 2 4x6s. And I'll repeat with the second one. Okay, so now I have a total of 4 4x6 pieces. I'm just going to set them aside for now. Next, here is the remaining strip that has the decal on both sides. And that's what this is basically doing. We're creating a nice decal. I'm going to carefully remove, I didn't moisten here, I'm just pulling it off. You can see the difference. Plus I'm probably going against the grain in this situation. Okay, so now I have a decal edge here, and I'm looking for a measurement of 3 3/4. So 1, 2, 3. Maybe I'll use a smaller ruler to give me 1, 2, 3/4 of an inch. Make sure everything's level. So this is, again, I'm getting 3 inches from this ruler and marrying it with 3/4 of an inch from the other ruler. I want to give that moisture a second to do its thing, and then it tears really well. Now I've got a nice decal edge on this piece, and I'll repeat 2 more times. So I got 1, 2, 3, and 3/4. Lining up well. Just add a little bit of moisture. And another piece, the same size, and then I'll go in for my final 3 3/4. And here you have the remaining scraps that go along with your other navy scraps. Those are the only scraps from this entire process of making 8 layouts, so I'll get rid of those. And we'll file the pieces we created. So we have 2 of the 4x6s that we made with the decal edge just on 2 of the sides. Those are going to go in pocket 3 and 4. And then the other 2 4x6s go in pocket 7 and 8. And then you have these 3 with decal edge all the way around going into pocket 1 and 2. Now if you'd like, you can just take a second and separate the cut aparts that will be fussy cut. I'm not going to fussy cut them now, but I will separate them and we can get those filed. Okay, if you have these generally separated, the pot goes into 7 and 8. Then there's a small heart and a larger heart can both go into pocket 1 and 2. There's a larger leaf, 3 and 4, and then the other larger heart, 5 and 6. Now, in the leaves, if you find this really skinny one, that goes in 5 and 6. The largest leaf goes in 7 and 8. Then you have this really odd shaped one. Kind of looks more like a, I don't know, odd shape. That goes in 3 and 4. The remaining one that's a little larger, that's going to go in 3 and 4. And then there's the smallest one, 1 and 2. Does it matter which leaf goes where? No. You can just go ahead and add those wherever you feel comfortable. I just know that people like to know where I use them, so that's why we did the filing part. But it really is, you know, designer's choice, of course. So I'm turning to page 4 of my instructions, and I want to find the image labeled 7 and 8. And what we're going to do is dry fit all of these pieces together, starting with layouts 8 and working your way up to layout 1, so that on the top you'll have layout number 1 ready to assemble, ready to adhere, ready for photos when we're finished with this dry fit process. So take the remaining stack of papers you have and place them to the left of the center of your work surface. That means the entire stack, not just this one sheet. And then slide the top sheet over so that this piece is on the right. That's all there is to it. So this entire stack remains here, and then one sheet will be on your right, and you can adjust the orientation of this however you wish. Then I'll go into pocket 7 and 8, take everything out of there, and let's distribute these pieces. So I usually like to begin with my border strips, and I think I have this bright gold one here is going to run its way across the bottom right, and it's going to be nested with this piece. And then on the left I've got this other gold strip nested with that relatively plain border strip. And then on top of that we're going to add this your gold, baby, solid gold. That kind of goes about the midpoint. Then we're going to take the handmade pieces and kind of decide how you want to arrange them. If you want the square edge, because remember you got 2 square edges and 2 decals. I kind of like them like that, but you can do it however you wish. And then a manila one will go across the bottom edge here. So you just need to adjust your placement. You've got the tag-shaped journaling prompt, and you'll snip or trim or use a craft knife to remove those triangular shapes from the corner. Staple some ribbon in the end of that, and then it gets a little leaf action there. Okay, now on the right, we'll take our remaining 2 manila photo mats. Those go kind of at the top left, and then vertically we'll place this here. Once this is fussy cut, you can attach it with some foam adhesive circles, and if you wanted to, you can take this beautiful gold dimensional acrylic and go over the printed Kintsugi lines with this and add a little bit of dimension to this pot image, which is kind of cool. There is a Organza Drawstring Bag in the kit. This one I just put it right over this, and you could fill this with something. You could put a picture in it, put some memorabilia, some concert tickets, you know, whatever you want in that spot. And then across the bottom, we've found this new ribbon. Isn't this beautiful? It's a gold metallic woven into a grosgrain. It's so pretty. So I'm going to stretch this across and trim off a length of about 14 inches so that I have an inch to wrap around to the back of this paper. And then that's how far we're going to take this page during the dry fit process. On the finished page, you can see how everything tied in. Look how beautiful that ribbon is. I kind of adhered it to the upper portion of this wide border strip, and you can see this has been adhered with foam adhesive circles. It just kind of adds a little bit of dimension, and it is overlapping this manila photo mat just a little bit. On layout 7, you can see my handmade pieces here, so beautiful. Then across the bottom I stapled some folded gold ribbon. Now this ribbon is kind of like a silk. It's really, really beautiful. It's not metallic, but I do love this texture, and it's super soft. And then finish it off with a leaf, and then that hammered bronze charm. The charm is like a charm of nothing, but I just think it's really appropriate with this collection. I love that. All right, so that is 7 and 8. I'm going to now do a slide. So basically I'll take this slate colored paper and slide it on top of 8. Make my little stack here. And then the very next piece, I think I might have had the gold one. There's a piece of gold paper hiding here. There we go. Gold should be on the right. And then this beautiful collage print will be on the left. Guess what pocket we go to now is going to be 5 and 6. Make sure you always get everything out of the pocket to avoid confusion, which can happen. And we'll just start right away with this larger gold mat, and it will get a little companion here. Make sure you grab the larger of all the navy pieces in there. And then across the left edge here, we're going to take this gold strip, and it should nest with this beautiful quote. Remember, growing might feel like breaking at first. Oh, I can think of a lot of occasions, even in my daughter's swimming career, that quote will fit. Let's see. This piece, I'm going to place it in the lower right corner of this side just to get it out of my hands while I look for a vertical journaling prompt here, and the inhale, exhale. And we also are going to add one of those little hammered charms, and we can even put a little wing on there. Get that leaf going on once you get it fussy cut. I think I kind of moved this all in so you could see a little more of this leaf right here. I think this is my favorite page of the whole thing. I just love that print. And then I used a portion of the print to sort of bring it and balance it from the left edge here over here. And you have a quote. You can run it across here and add your heart. This one too, you can add that dimensional, wherever you want to add this dimensional gold acrylic. It's metallic, it's going to kind of add just a little bit of texture to whatever you're working with. So the finished page, here you can see, I've got that, I'm not sure how you can see it, but I've got the dimension added here, which is really kind of nifty. And my 3 little navy mats, those are the first pieces of paper we trimmed in this whole process. And then on the left side, finished with some stapled ribbon, some tied ribbon, and there's that fussy cut leaf. Notice this is applied with the foam adhesive circles just to give it a little lift right there. Okay, now we're going to stack and slide again. So bring just this piece over. That was the base of layout 5. And now we'll bring the base of layout 4. And we'll reach into the pocket labeled 3 and 4. Make sure you get everything out of there. There's quite a bit in this pocket, actually. I get it all. I like to kind of have it in my hand so I can deal it out like I'm playing some cards. And then we'll switch back to page 3 of our instructions and find layouts 3 and 4 here. Okay, so maybe I'll just take this large piece, and that's going to go flush. So the straight edge of this torn piece will go lining up with the right edge of our spread here. That's kind of cool. And then across the bottom, we'll do the torn edge facing down so we can see it better. I think that's kind of cool looking. Now, we've got so many pieces here. How about we'll take care of these nested border strips. So you have the blue kind of right up against that piece with a little mate. That looks nice. And then over across the top, we'll take the other blue. We're carrying this navy color over, and we can onto this beautiful handmade. And again, just pay attention to which side you want facing up. Like sometimes one side is way more sparkle than the other. So this nests as well. Perfect. Then along this edge, I'm going to place this piece. Oh, I think I had this piece misfiled. This is kind of nice. I did have a piece misfiled, so I'm going to reverse. Down here, this was supposed to be this piece, so I'm going to swap that out. Either way, it still carries through nicely. And we'll move back. So that's why we do that dry fit. It's just nice to go back and switch. So again, I just swapped out this piece from this other layout here. And we'll rewind or fast forward back to where we were. And then this piece goes here. My apologies for having that all screwed up. It could be either one. Either one will work fine. So if you liked it the other way, just swap them out. It's not a big deal. Okay, so now I've got these slate colored mats, and notice the base of this paper is slate. So now my mats on this side are going to be slate so that we have the color represented well on both sides. Then you should have 2 navy mats. Those will go horizontally on this side, and then the 4x6s should nest onto those. You have this, don't ever lose your sense of wonder, should be the same height. And we will be adding a journaling prompt to that. Again, remove the triangular corners and staple some ribbon onto that. This other navy piece should nest with "Every day is a fresh start," and it does. And then you can just add these random leaves wherever you want them on here. Just anywhere you want. And I'll show you on the finished layouts where I placed those. So here's layout number 4. We finished that out with some of that really cool metallic blue. It's got a gold metallic woven into this navy twill. And then here's another piece of stapled ribbon. This, of course, attached again with foam adhesive circles. Page 3, in addition to attaching this with the foam circles as well, just to provide that balance, I've also added another long strip of that gold ivory ribbon as well. Okay, then I'll slide this piece. This is a lighter weight paper, so we're just going to be careful when we slide it over, that handmade weight. And then bring over our navy. This is going to be the base for layouts 1 and 2. Well, let's see what we have here. Across the top of the right side, now we have our 3 handmade, decal-edged, gorgeous photo mats. And they're going to fit across there perfectly because we made them 3 3/4 inches wide. So make sure you have you're going to be kind of like a 3 3/4 by 4-ish. Okay, then how about a gold strip? I'm going to create a little section here, and then we can put this beautiful piece, which then transfers what we see here over to the right. You're going to have the shorter gold, and you're going to have a wider gold mat. Your option here is to add the Organza Drawstring Bag, and believe it or not, this tag is the perfect size. Now, I put the tag on top of the bag and also just added a little hammered bronze charm. Now, the other 2 gold mats will be tilted on the left side, top, followed by a navy strip, a gold, and the life is a collection of moments. So they've got triple border here. Now, to carry over the set of 3 handmade pieces here, we're taking 3 more blue or navy. Balance that out over there. The journaling prompt here. A couple of hearts, large and small. And I think I maybe added this leaf kind of over here or something kind of cool. Let's take a look at the finished pages. So here's number 2. Yep, I tucked that leaf right behind there. Punched a hole. So if you have like a standard 1/4 inch hole punch or a crocodile, punch your hole and then tie the top with some ribbon. Add your charm. This page is done. And then layout number 1. Here I added the dimensional gold to the smaller heart. You could do it to this one as well. I just was short on time when I was assembling this, and I knew I needed to let it air dry, so I did not go crazy with this. I still have a lot left, and I can go back and add that in later if I would like. So there you have layouts 1 and 2. That wraps up the entire Kintsugi page kit. Once this is done, you have a couple of options. For now, what I'm going to do is pick this up carefully and slide it on top of the entire stack of pages. And then we'll review the stick and flip in case you don't know about this. Now, all of our kits generally come in these bags that have the resealable edge, and that can be a real problem when you're trying to reload a bag. So what I do is make sure the bag is not sealed, that the sticky side is facing away from me, and that the top of the bag is at the top. And then I'll stick that sticky side to my work surface. Then flip. This is the flip part of the stick and flip. Flip the bottom of the bag up. Now the mouth of the bag is open to me, and the sticky stuff is out of the way. And I can take this entire batch of pages here and slide them easily into the bag. And you know, like having it stuck to the table sort of forces it that to help me during the loading process. Now, yes, all of the pieces that we so carefully arrange are going to fall down, but what will happen, and I've done this many times, is when you go to assemble these pages, you can carefully slide them out, and then every piece will be where it needs to be. So then you insert the rest of your ribbon that has not yet been allocated, any other missing little embellishments. And then you take the instructions and you put it in the bag. That way you know what this is and where everything goes. So it's all in there. And then you can go ahead and work on this when you like. So if you like to go to crops, perhaps you go this far with your preparation for the crop, and then maybe even you do this over the course of several months and your kits are at this stage of the game. When you go to a crop, you just bring this, some adhesive and some tape and your pictures, and you can get a lot accomplished at your next gathering, which we hope to have soon. There you have it, my friends. May it be a Kintsugi kind of a year. Happy 2021. It's almost here. See you next time.